comes in and says my walking is really bothering me, either my hip's starting to hurt, it's starting to bother my back, whatever it is, then that's going to be one of the first things I'm going to try to help adjust for her so that she can be more comfortable. Do you have kind of a fake subjective in mind? Give me a minute.
Nope, I'm good.
You're good? Hi, Kat. How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm going to wash my hands before I see you because that's what I can do to not fail. But I'm Christy. I'm a physical therapist and I'm going to be working with you today, okay?
Cool.
I understand you're having a little trouble with walking.
Yeah.
And is it causing any pain for you?
Not so much like intense pain, but just kind of nagging.
Okay. And I'm going to take some notes while we do this so we can make sure we have a good record for you.
Okay.
Where does it nag?
A little bit in my left hip area.
Okay. Does that start right away when you're walking, or does it take a little while?
No, it takes a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Is it hurting you right now?
No, I feel pretty good.
Okay. When you've been walking, is it maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? How long before it starts to...
About 20 minutes. Okay. Usually I get to work. I work for like 30 minutes and I'm kind of noticing it, but I sit sometimes too.
Okay. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a lab assistant.
Oh, okay. I bet they work you to the bone.
They're horrible.
I know. I hear the boss over there is mean.
She's ridiculous.
Oh well, suck it up. So anyway, after you've been walking for about 20 minutes, what would you rate your pain on a scale 0 to 10? 0, no pain at all. 10, so bad you go to the ER.
Oh, like a 4 or 5.
4 or 5. And then when you sit after, does it go away pretty quickly or does it take a while to ease up?
It goes away pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would like to do today is I'm going to watch you walk a little bit, see if I can kind of pick out some of what's going on.
Okay.
And then I'd like to take a few measurements, see if I can kind of pinpoint what's going on and maybe what we can do to help address that.
Cool.
So we can give you kind of the most focused in exercise plan that we can. Does that sound okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to watch you walk down
Okay.
this path here. If it starts to bother you, let me know. Okay, come on back. Okay. Okay, you can have a seat. Kind of what I'm seeing when you do this is actually on your right leg. What I'm seeing is you're kind of pushed up on your toe a little bit when you walk. It's very subtle. It's not a huge deviation, but it makes me wonder if something on the left side is bothering you. So you're not kind of bending it quite enough.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to see. All right, so what I'm going to do, now my mind is going, I need to check the shortening side. Vaulting is not a toe problem, typically on the other side. So on a practical, I would say, Kat, I think what could be causing this would be either weakness on the left hip flexor, knee flexor, or dorsiflexor, or it could be tightness of the hip extensor, knee extensor, plantar flexor. I doubt it's the hip extensor because you only need 30 and it looked like you were fine there. And then you'll draw out of an envelope. You're only going to test one strength and one length. Which strength do you want me to test today?
I would like to test the knee flexor.
The knee flexor strength, and which length would you like me to test?
Let's do the gastroc.
Okay. Okay, Kat, so what I'm going to do, if you don't mind, is I'm going to have you sit here and have your feet hanging off the side over here.
Okay.
So kind of legs out straight, if you don't mind. Okay, and then come forward so kind of your ankle and your foot is off the side. Okay, a little bit more for me, if you don't mind. Okay, good. So I'm going to check the tightness in your calf muscle right now, okay? So you don't have to do anything right now. I'm just going to be measuring. It's going to take me a second to line up.
Okay.
Bruise over here for the other head.
That's when I fell.
Oh, yes. Again. Normal is 20. Gait needs 15. Oh my gosh, you're impressive. You're about 16 there. That's good. She's like, give me the 29. Just so you guys know, when I do this, so I keep my head straight, even now that I've been out a lot of years, I get here and I go 0, and then I go past there, and I'm like, I'm gonna fake it. 10 on this side.
Let's
Okay,
try
just because
this.
it keeps me oriented with my going. I'm gonna write these down, Kat, 'cause I don't have very good memory.
Okay, I don't either.
Okay, and then you have options on the practical. You can actually stop right there and start stretching, and then do your strength later. I'm gonna do all data collection first, okay? Could you please lie on your stomach for me? Okay. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna see if you can bend your knee up like this, and then bring it back down. Can you do that for me? Good. Good. And I'm gonna have you hold it right here.
Okay.
I'm gonna push down on your leg. Don't let me move you, and make sure you're not grabbing the table, okay?
Okay.
I would be on the other side normally, but okay, ready? Hold, 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 and then I kind of do this real quick just to make sure they're not cramping. Okay? You all right? Are you cramping? Are you okay?
No, that was perfect.
Okay. All right, let's do the same thing on this side. Bend the knee all the way up, back down. Okay, come up part way. Hold there, and don't let me push, okay? Hold. Ooh. Is that as best you can do? I want you to try to hold as hard as you can. Ready? Hold. No, she's a 3+. So I'm getting a little pressure, but then it immediately starts to go after that. So she can take some pressure, but not much, okay? Well, Kat, that right side is good and strong. That left side, you might have noticed, you couldn't really hold it very well.
Yeah.
So the two things I really want to do with you today is I want to help strengthen that muscle.
Okay.
I think if you can bend it more,
Mm-hmm.
what's the other side? If you can bend this one more, you won't need to push up on that toe. All right, so that'll be one of it.
Okay.
A little tightness in your calf muscle on this
Yeah.
side, so we're going to stretch that as well.
Okay. Cool.
And so then what I would do is I would just go into doing those two things. I will give her a calf stretch. We haven't done all these yet. That's what we're going to be doing in the next part of our unit. I like the wall one, so I probably do a wall lunge because I can do it anywhere. She's a lab assistant, so she's on her feet a lot. So that's nice and easy. And I'll have her hold for 30 seconds. I'm going to have her do 3 or 4 repetitions 4 or 5 times a day. Stretch all the time. Super important to stretch. And for hamstring at a 3+, you should be thinking gravity resisted with some resistance. Okay, so just doing standing hamstring curls is not enough for her. She may not be able to do a ton, but I either need to put an ankle weight on her, so I might start with a 1 to 2 pound ankle weight for a 3+, and see if we can get up to at least 8. Okay, if she can keep going, I need to add more weight. She's faking it, obviously, also. But if she gets to 3 and she can't do it, then I have to take the weight off. So that's how we want you to adjust in a practical moment as well, that you're making those adjustments. Again, most of the time, I'll have to see if people are going to fake things or not. I'll let you know well before that practical. It's going to depend on whether I can touch base with first year students ahead of time or not. Okay. Again, it's 20 minutes. If you're smooth and efficient, you can finish it in 10. This is not one of the practicals that you have to keep treating. I need at least 1 exercise for each thing you measure. And then we will ask you. So Kat would say, Christy, what if their balance is poor and they can't stand there that long? And I'd say, great question, Kat. I could have them here with a rope or a belt around their leg, and I could pull up for the calf stretch there so that we don't have to worry about their balance. And then if she continued on and said, well, what if now their shoulders start to bother her? We'll do a few what ifs at the end to keep you thinking of other things. Same thing on the hamstring curl. If she gets too tired, if their balance is poor, how else can you do it? Well, I could just do the test position and I can still add an ankle weight there. I could also tie TherBand around and have her bend. It's just hard to keep the TherBand from sliding, so it works, but it's okay. I could also put TherBand around her here and have her just bend her knee back like this. So we're going to be brainstorming all that, so you don't have to have that right now, but part of our lower extremity unit is going to be that you guys are going to get muscle groups, and you're going to remind us of the muscles that do those actions. Ooh, there's new muscle quizzes coming. And then you have to come up with a lot of exercises. How would you progress it? How would you know to progress it? And then we're just going to spend a lot of time in class working through those and doing them so you can feel them and correct them. Okay? So if right now part of your problem is I don't know how to come up with all those exercises, don't worry, that's coming. All right, are there any questions on how that flow works?
So we're pulling out of a hat what we're stretching and strength, or what we're measuring.
Yeah. So you'll pull your case, and your case is, you don't get to look at your case right away. You hand it to us, and we do the gait deviation. It'll basically say a gait deviation and a job. Because for this one, that's all you really need, a gait deviation and a job. And we will do the gait deviation. You have to pick it. You have to name it. So if I do, this, you're saying it's circumduction. If I'm doing this, you're telling me it's steppage gait. And then you're going to tell me the possible causes of that deviation. And then I have envelopes that say vaulting, circumduction, steppage, that have all the deviations, and inside are note cards that have all the causes. And you'll pick out of the hat which ones you're going to assess.
And then we're just telling you one exercise.
No, you're going to do it with them.
We're doing
Yeah.
just one.
So you're doing one exercise for each thing you measure. Okay, so again, if I had steppage gait and it's weak dorsiflexor or tight plantar flexor, those are the two you're measuring. And you have to give one stretch and one strengthen, and then you'll just verbalize with me progressions and regressions. Okay?
And this is where a lot of people flip, like when to go knee, when to do the length, like how does that make sense? When Christy was saying,
And that's okay. That's kind of why I was saying some people, if you're one of the people that as you're practicing today, you start to go, oh, I was supposed to measure knee flexion range of motion, but then I gave her a hamstring strengthening exercises, that's a mismatch, right? If you measured knee flexion range of motion, just stretch them into knee flexion range of motion, right? Again, right now you might go, that doesn't even make sense. Why would you do that? Exactly. But when you're in the middle of practical, your mind does weird things. Some people measure knee flexion and then they start to give hamstring stretches because they flipped it in their mind. And so that's where I said, I like to do all my data collection first, but I've been doing it a very long time. You are more than welcome to test their flexibility and just stretch it. And then say, well, we also want to check your strength now that we've checked your flexibility. So we're going to check how strong you are, and then we're going to help strengthen you. And so you can do it by category to keep your brain straight.
So whatever we stretch, and whatever we strengthen.
Yeah, whatever you measure with the go knee, stretch.
Right.
Whatever you do an MMT for, strengthen. And if you start to panic, like, was I flipping it? Am I not flipping it? Stay in the test position. Right? So can you lie on your stomach again? Mm-hmm. If I had done this and then I was like, oh, I'm going to do squats. Wait, squats don't strengthen my hamstrings. Shoot, I don't know what to do, but this was my strength test. So can you just do 10 of those for me? Mm-hmm. And we're going to start there, and then I'm going to think, oh, wait, that's too easy. Oh, I can add an ankle weight. You can just stay in test position. You can do that in the real world, too. If you're kind of frozen and going, oh, shoot, what do? Start here, right? If I had done the same thing where gastrock's a little bit easier, but I had measured her gastrock, and then I was like, what direction am I supposed to go? Just keep her there, give her a gait belt, and have her stretch it the way you were measuring it. Whatever you measure into is the direction you should be stretching. There are a few gait deviations that don't have length associated, like the posterior lean and initial contact. So you would tell us the two strength issues. It's the hip extensor on one side, hip flexor on the other. And then we assign you a measurement, and it'll be related to the hip then. We're not going to suddenly say measure the ankle. But we might say, okay, well, you're correct, and you drew it out, and you got strength of hip flexors. Then I might also say, okay, go ahead and check length of hip flexors as well. So we'll just pick one for you, okay? So again, this isn't where you should know and be ready for this. I think this practical is like 2 or 3 weeks, so 2 weeks away at least, maybe 3, because the week after the prosthetic test, there's nothing. So it's got to be at least the 3rd week away, because we're going to get through the entire lower extremity all the way down to the ankle and plantar fasciitis before we have this practical. So then you can pull in gait and the entire lower extremity, and you'll be ready for it. So if you're worried about gait, you've got plenty of time. Yes?
When we do GONI, are you wanting us to verbalize normal ranges?
I don't know. I think it asks for that on the thing. Let's refer to the grade sheet that I thought about in depth before doing it. I do not ask for that, so no. And you don't have to verbalize landmarks as long as I see you palpating. You all are not skilled enough yet to eyeball landmarks and be accurate. Okay, so you should be palpating a fibular head, and I can see if you're lined up on the base of the fifth, right? If you're eyeballing a greater trochanter, I just don't think you're there yet. You'll eventually be able to kind of figure that out without having to palpate everything, but even now I still palpate everything to make sure, because body types are so different. So what I would suggest, and I'm sorry, any more questions before we break up into what we're doing? The bulk of the rest of today is going to